initially it was confusion and disbelief, as like most of the population really. We didn't know where this had come from or how long it was going to go on for. But as kind of like lockdown set in and we kind of started to look back at our business, it was panic really. We'd invested really heavily over the winter in our new shop, and then suddenly overnight all our income stopped. Our restaurants that we supply closed, and we were due to open our shop, and so yeah, no income overnight.
I think we're all still a bit surprised that it was actually happening. And I think from our point of view, from the tennis club's point of view, we kind of saw tennis as being relatively low risk, and we kind of presumed to start with that we would be able to keep playing tennis because, you know, it's not a contact sport. So that was our first thoughts, was that we were going to try and keep playing for as long as we possibly could until people told us we weren't allowed to play anymore. Is that right, Stuart?
It was members. It was tough, and for the coaching and the team, you know, not working, not earning.
Essentially, the first thing that came into my head was no more football. That's my livelihood, and obviously everything else, the worry about family was there, the worry about making a living was there. But ultimately, it was just, we're not going to be able to play football at all. No training, no coaching, not even watching, nothing. And that was kind of the overriding feeling for me personally.
Most of our members are older people. They were getting more and more concerned about what COVID meant, and they'd stopped playing. And the first thoughts were, how long is this going on for? What's going to happen? What does it all mean? Because we didn't really know. It was a big shock. We didn't know what we were facing, and all we could see was loss of income.
When the government has mentioned the possibility of a lockdown, I did exactly the same thing as everybody else in the country, panicked pretty much. But then I realized that I needed a plan, and I prepared to move my services online, and that was a very good idea.
It had quite a big impact on the business. We lost about 50% of our clients, but after speaking to quite a few other gyms, that's quite a good retention of clients. And then over the period of time, people got a bit more comfortable with, doing the remote training, and they started filtering through.
Pub shut, there was nowhere to sell our stock, and everyone was stuck at home. The sun was shining. And luckily for us, we're a very small business, and we can be quite flexible about what we're doing. So we shifted all our production to bottles, and we applied for the licenses we needed to get our product, basically start a home delivery service, which went well. And it was good because we were meeting people who hadn't seen anyone for days, and it was nice. They were interested in the product, they were liking it, and they were having chats on the doorstep, and it was great. So we really kind of connected with the local community in that way. But of course, you know, growth was slower than we would have expected otherwise in normal conditions, but we made the most of it.
I just thought to myself, where's my aspirations after this? What happens now? So everything on the horizon just went, and for me that was my initial thought. That was like, oh, what am I working for now? And then the optimism comes back, and you start thinking, what should I do next? How do I fix this? And then you start building and start to fixing things. And I thought, how do we take my music school and all my teachers that work with us online? And you know, we chatted to all my teachers, and chatted to a lot of the students and parents, and we just worked a way out where, you know, hello Zoom or Skype or whatever, and just go with it.
We've spoken to a lot of parents who have said that obviously the boys they've been struggling at home for things to do. They've been used to playing football 2 or 3 times a week, sometimes more, for the past 3-4 years, and not being able to do that, especially those that live in kind of higher, kind of like first, second floor flats and don't have access to gardens and things like that, have been adversely affected. And so when we were able to kind of come back, then they were buzzing with it.
So we lost basically half a year of trading. May was particularly frustrating, with it being the sunniest May in 125 years. Sunshine is ice cream selling weather. And also frustrating because we had some great events planned for this year that we couldn't do due to lockdown and due to COVID restrictions. So Easter would normally be our biggest event of the year, where we had planned lamb petting and lamb feeding, Easter egg hunts. Then we had a dinosaur day planned that we had to cancel, and our maze that we normally run, we couldn't work out how to make that set the maids up to comply with social distancing requirements, so we had to cancel that.
What I started thinking of is like, I need to work with what I have. So every time something was happening, I was just saying to myself, it's fine, you will work with it, you have to work with it, that's how it is now. So I think that's what it taught me, that the preparation of the show, lockdown, all of these, that you just have to work with what comes across you.
We managed to access the small business grants. It's quite easy to do. The local council contacted us. We filled in a few forms and it was as straightforward as that. Also, local EHO have been really helpful in supporting us in helping set up our risk assessments and our COVID policy to allow us to actually open when it came to being able to open.
I have applied for and received a lump sum grant from the government, and it was organised and sent through Barnet Council, and it was absolutely useful. It allowed me to keep up with my rent payments and other overheads, and it was surprisingly kind of convenient and quick to receive it. So it was a big help.
My teachers are self-employed, so lucky enough when I came out with the self-employment scheme, people and my teachers managed to do all the security tests and access the gateway and all the rest of it, and it was easy. I found it quite easy. They found it quite easy, so it was easy enough to sort of get the money. I think within three days they did it all. So thank God for that, because I think everyone needed it.
We had access to the Small Business Support Grant, which was administered by Barnet on behalf of the national government, and that was really well done. It was quick and easy, and it did help out. We also had support from Barnet licensing team and the police in terms of our application to be able to actually deliver direct to the public ourselves, and we thank them for the support, and they're doing a great job in quite difficult circumstances during lockdown.
Post-lockdown it's been an optimistic period. We were able to restart in small training groups. I believe it was the beginning of June now, and the vast majority of our members were willing to come back, and they were overjoyed to be able to come back in and train with us. We've obviously not had the site, the facility here open, so our cafe has not been open, and they haven't had access to changing rooms and things like that, but at least we've been able to kind of get them onto our secure AstroTurf pitch and get them back into training.
Everybody's a bit wary. Everybody's still a little bit in hibernation, although people are going out a lot more. But when it comes to teaching kids, you've got to be, and adults, you've got to be a little bit careful, because, say for instance, some kids really need face-to-face lessons. You know, some do, and when you start doing that, you've got to take all the precautions. You've got to make sure you have an aired room. You've got to make sure that if there's air conditioning, all the tests have been done there as well.
Last year I was quite ill. I had what's known as an aortic aneurysm, where the main artery to the heart split, and this put me in hospital for 3 months, and it was quite worrying because I wasn't at the business. But what I realised was that the business started running on its own, and last year I'd started up a business helping fitness businesses to run their businesses properly, and during lockdown I flicked the switch on that, and I've started getting my first few clients, helping fitness businesses to recover from COVID, and it's starting to kick off and take off really well.
At the moment, it's looking very different. We're still closed. We will reopen on the 5th of October, but we will only be open Monday to Friday. We will only be open for 2 sessions a day. So there will be fewer opportunities for our members to bowl, but a lot of our members are still not comfortable with the idea of coming out to bowl indoors.
I'm quite optimistic now. I suppose the longer this goes on for, the longer it becomes the norm. So you adjust to it and you adapt. I think sometimes small businesses are better at adapting faster to change as they're more flexible. We're quite excited about our first socially distanced event we've got planned, which will be our Halloween event at the end of October. So we'll be working quite hard on making sure that all complies and keeps everyone safe. So yeah, fingers crossed it'll be a successful end to the year.
Going forward and being optimistic, you need to take it day by day. There are hard days. I'm not saying no, I'd go through difficult days, but I just try to be positive, and that's how we should all be.